This is the Real Estate Investing 365 podcast, your go-to source for real estate investing strategies so you can start living the life you want and get where you want to go. With your host, Justin Hanna.
Welcome back, everybody. Another episode, Real Estate Investing 365. Today, I got an awesome guest. I'm sure you all know who he is. You've probably heard him on many podcasts and aspire to be like him as well. I got with me Tim Rhode. He's a best-selling author. He's founded multiple companies. He's the founder and visionary for One Life Fully Lived. He's a co-founder of GoBundance. I think his newest book out now is Tribe of Millionaires. He's got all kinds of stuff going on, including his Goods in the Woods. So, Tim, hey, man, thanks for being here.
Hey, it's my pleasure, Justin. Cool to talk to another NorCal guy that lives in mountain guy, just different mountain community, but we're kinfolk.
That's it. Yeah. If for everybody that doesn't know, I'm in Northern California and so is Tim. So we're actually, if we're in a helicopter, we could probably get to each other in about 45 minutes, not too long.
Just over a few ranges.
Just a few ranges, but we got a ton of snow and finally, we had a horrible kind of winter going. The beginning was great. And then all of a sudden it was not so great. Then they got that miracle March kind of thing happening. So made a lot of us happy for sure. Right.
Oh yeah. Nice to have the definite 4 seasons, and winter and spring are two of the best. So.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm talking to you today. The show's going to come out relatively soon, but today we're talking, it's April 8th. And there's all kinds of craziness happening in the world. The corona crazy, we're all locked up. For me and you, we're not in the big city. We're kind of in our own little paradises. So it's not horrible for us, but still it's affecting many people. And kind of, I wanted to get your thoughts of like the whole situation, what's going on and what you're doing to plan around this whole situation.
Yeah, there was kind of like, we all were rolling along and everything was going great. And we all got corona'd.
Yeah.
Sometime in March, and there was like pre-virus and after, and it's shaken everybody's tree.
Yeah.
I run with some pretty big folks in GoBundance and stuff, and to listen to our calls and to hear people just really that the uncertainty and how's this all going to work? And so that piece of it's been unsettling for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
And so what we're doing is like as one of the founders of GoBundance and the founder of One Life, my thing is what did I do in previous cycles, and how can I help people, not only emotionally get through this, but more, what specific actions do I need to take to find out where did I land, as best as I can tell right
Mm-hmm.
now. And then, what assets do I have? What cash do I have on hand? What will my new income be? What will my new expenses be? What's left over? What's my burn rate? What specific actions do I need to take this week? And these are the kind of, and so for both communities, we designed an emergency 30-day, in GoBundance, we called it the resilience worksheet. And it's a little more in depth than the one we did for One Life Fully Lived. That's the 30-day roadmap to how to navigate this. So, that's where my mind goes is Tina and I have done a good job through numerous cycles getting to a position where, we made sure we put the oxygen mask on us and looked at all of our stuff, but then we look at how can we best serve in our way to help as many people find their best way to survive this, land on their feet, and come out thriving from the amazing opportunities this may bring. So.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I didn't realize, with GoBundance, I hope everybody's heard of it. If you haven't, definitely look it up and look up One Life Fully Lived. But I didn't realize that, you guys kind of help the whole tribe of GoBundance guys kind of like focus on, what to do in a situation like this. And it seems like you guys are really having like breakout sessions all the time, and you're bringing in people that have all different aspects of the economy in mind and really trying to help each other out, which is that's huge. That's a huge benefit. And I think that's one thing people miss thinking about having a mentorship program or a mastermind group of people that a lot of them, if you get in the wrong one, don't do as much as like GoBundance does. So that seems awesome for sure.
Well, I don't know if you were on either, and some of your listeners may have heard Jeff Hoffman either on One Life Fully Lived or on our GoBundance call. And Jeff is just an entrepreneur extraordinary. He invented the airport kiosk. He's one of the
Wow.
principal founders of Priceline, UBid, a bunch of other companies. And he's also the most heart-centered individual you'll ever find. But Jeff was really good at talking to us about like retooling and just changing your focus to maybe you were going down this way and you might have to shift, and what made sense pre-virus is no longer viable or needs to be adjusted.
Yeah.
So yeah, just having those kind of conversations. And then we've done something else that's been really big, and that's we started it with kind of like the elders given our take on what's happening. I think the first few weeks that was really good because all three of us, David, Pat, and I, have been through a lot of cycles, but now it's turned into a community like group share of what are you seeing and what's going on medically. Let's get our docs in here talking about what we should know medically, and then what's going on financially and how can we best serve in our relationships, and throwing down to the rope through One Life and the other ways we serve. But I think that's a huge piece of it. And here's a very important piece of all this. Most of you out there, you're like I was back in the day, a lone wolf. And we're trying to solve all this ourselves and put on a brave face and just get it through it. And it's so cool when you're doing it with others going through the same thing and facing the people that you get you that you can talk to about this stuff.
Yeah, no, I could imagine that's huge. And I especially felt that before I got into, I'm in David Green's mastermind that he's got going on and some other masterminds online. And I definitely felt that before I did this because I live in this small community, and nobody else around me is doing anything like I am. So that key is getting around people that are doing the same thing as you. So I want to go back to kind of your thoughts on, do you think this is going to be like another recessionary economic time, or do you think it's kind of just like this big thing, we're going to deal with it now and all of a sudden it's going to come kind of back to what it was? Because there's both sides. There's lots of people that think both ways.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. I candidly, we're kind of surprised to see the stock market bounce back. And the other night, Andrew Cushman, who's follows all this stuff, was saying, be careful, it might be like what they call a bear trap, where it starts back up, you get in, and it jumps back down for the final shakeout, if you will.
Yeah, I don't understand. That's one of the reasons I don't really like the stock market. I know you should diversify and all that stuff, but luckily I pulled out most of my stuff like back in December, just happened to.
Good for you.
And but I'm like, how can it be going up so much when all these people are off of work? The earnings aren't going to be there. So how is the price of the shares like coming back when nobody's making profit? Like, I think it's just a psychological thing they're doing.
Yeah, we'll see. It's really interesting because if you listen to them, it would be because they're seeing the deaths and the COVID thing isn't as bad as they thought it was. It was going to be super bad, and now it won't be quite as bad, and maybe they shouldn't have taken as drastic steps. But as far as what we're the conversations in my group is keep your powder dry. Do a lot of observing right now and see what's going on. And but there's going to be more opportunities. Let's say 9 months to 3 years from now. What kind of recovery is it going to be? Is it going to be a V shape? That's very rare. That it just goes like this and boom, right back up. Especially with all the shakeout, there's going to be all the restaurants and small business people that are just holding on for dear life, and employees, and so and if you look at previous cycles, there's the down and it's horrible and it's painful, and then there's here and it's horrible and it's painful, and this is when the best moves are made is buy when everyone's fearful down at the bottom. You don't have to hit it right here, but you don't want to hit it here. And by the way, last cycle, one of my most respected mentors, the duplex king of Sacramento, went from, let me think, he'd gone from 15 million to 36 million, and right here bet it was a blip. And he had tons of equity, and he put loans on all of them to go buy more because it was 20% discount. And it was a huge mistake, and it basically took him out, and he had to start over. And imagine that, and then make it. It's not easy to keep it, through multiple cycles and stuff. So.
Yeah. So you're saying he, thought it was over, but it was just like a little blip of okayness. And he went out and took a bunch of money out and ended up maybe going underwater or whatever on those properties because it went back down to the dip further.
Right. Yeah. Because the like where things were in 2006 and where they were in 2009 was drastic.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah. No.
And can I say one more thing to that? That's really huge, Justin.
No, absolutely. I was going to ask another question. So yeah, definitely.
Is while we're on this topic, I don't talk about this a lot, but I nailed cycles really well because I studied them. And Kenny Rogers said you need to know when to hold them, know when to fold them. And you said you sold in December, I started in the 80s and rode things 83 to 90, 90 to 97, 97 to 2006, and just bought like when things started to go up all the way to the top, and then slowed way down for the 90 to 97 period. And we were tracking all of this because I was selling real estate then. And then I sold 17 properties with 52 tenants between 2005 and 2007. And
perfect.
Yeah. Got out of Manteca real estate with the bear clawing at my butt.
Yeah.
And really nailed that cycle really well.
So how did you kind of know? I mean, obviously you were in the real estate game, but like what were you looking at? Because for example, like people started saying in 2015 that, oh, it's going to crash next year. And then 16, no, it's going to crash next year, over and over again. So it's like, well, okay, well, who do you listen to? Right. Because I feel like you should always be buying real estate if the numbers work, even in the upper ends of the market cycle. If the numbers work and it's cash flowing, okay, buy it, but make sure you have a buffer in there. But there's some people that say, oh, wait for the next downturn and trying to time it. So how do you kind of know, okay, you see it going up and this is getting crazy? How does it crazy versus just good market?
Okay. So I my game was listing and selling a ton of real estate, living way within my means. Defense wins championships, and then taking all of our excess money and investing wisely. I wasn't a pauper. We enjoyed life. Don't get me wrong, but we didn't have a lot of the frills. We didn't buy the boat. We bought the gas and beer.
Yeah.
So yeah. So like then I was flipping 10 homes a year from like 2000, or I'd say 97 to 2005. And every single one, I averaged about $40,000 net profit for me. Okay. So
wow.
400 grand. Yeah. Barely working. My team's doing all the work, getting the goods in the woods, lots of time thinking what's coming next, and just had a machine, have the rentals too. And I'm buying these rentals along the way. And I played the musical chairs game until the last two flippers I did, I had good equity in both of them built into the price. And I barely got out with breaking even. And I knew that, it was time for the music to stop. We were going to keep my house down there in Manteca for another year. I was going to live up in the mountains, come down there and still flip and work my real estate operation down there. I told my wife, she had a list of things to do in the next year. I said, get it. I ordered the sign for Monday. Get as much of the stuff done as you can. We're at. And I sold it just just right at the freaking top. I sold for 789 and it was worth 350 2.5 years later.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, big numbers on all of these. One I screwed up. I kind of got cocky on a triplex and a duplex, and somebody wanted a little bit of work. I told them I wouldn't do it right at the end of it. Last ones I was selling, and he walked, and I had it for like 650, and I ended up getting like 340. So
Oh,
yeah, but it's interesting. Cycles mean a lot, and I know it's good to buy at all times, but it's also wise to watch others, observe a lot, and be aggressively patient.
hmm.
You're always looking for great deals, but you only do great deals because great deals sometimes are only good deals, and good deals sometimes are bad deals. So you don't
Yeah.
do good deals.
Yeah. No, that makes a ton of sense. And maybe also, yeah, what you said is, watch a lot. For example, I like to buy and invest in like the Boise market up in Idaho. And, the last couple of years, what I noticed, the reason why I haven't bought any multifamily up there in the last couple of years, was because I saw the people I saw that was buying was not like your average or um, your real good investor, right? It was just people that happened to move there from California that sold their house for a boatload of money and they have a dispensable income. So they're buying a fourplex for 500 grand that gives them a 3.5% return, right? So there's still lots of properties being sold, but it wasn't like somebody making good returns, like a good investor. They were just people that had money that said, hey, I'm going to buy real estate. And
Right.
so I saw that, not that I knew really what was going on, because I just thought, man, this is the new normal because I'm younger. But I think part of our generation's problem right now, or a lot of people's, is that we're so used to everything being so quick, maybe, with social media, Amazon, all this stuff that's just like instant. We get what we want right away. And people are afraid to like play the long game, maybe. What do you think about that?
Well, I think that everything's changed. This thing's a new normal, and there's going to be uncertainty, and there may be like next February them wanting to shut the whole thing down again. We just don't know. So
Yeah.
so go back to make darn sure you have plenty of cash. Make sure you're absolutely preparing for the worst, and then you're making the best happen for where you are now. And I'm sure there's some people listening to this that have been just had their trees rocked. And I know there's other people that are, still making money in their quote day job and have excess cash and do have a lot of cash in reserves and are probably chomping at the bit to go, make some things happen. And that may be a good idea. My advice is don't, and just be patient. And I think it may have more legs than we think. And I could be dead wrong. And remember when I said if you played this 3 months from now,
Yeah.
everything we could have had an absolute V and only take north from there. There's gonna be changes, and that's um, the bad news is this is scary. There are shakeups, and everybody's life, especially right now, is really way different. But the good news is things. Boise was at its peak, and a lot of different places were at their peak, and there was an opportunity. And those of us, the people listening to this, we're the grinders. We're
Yeah.
the ones that are going to do the hard work, and put ourselves in a position to take opportunity. So,
Yeah, for sure. And so just for the listeners listening, a couple of things I'm doing, like I mentioned, I sold half of my stock portfolio because half of it's in like 401k and I'm with the company still, so I can't touch it. But all the stuff that I had personally, I sold in December, but also, we listed our personal house in the beginning of March. And, this has taken a hit on showings, but I think fingers crossed we have somebody buying it. And the main reason I'm doing that, for one, is because we're going to move. But for two, I want that cash out of my house. Just
mhm.
so we're going to go rent. I've talked to my wife, no matter what we do, we're going to go rent and rent for several years because I want that extra cash, all that money. Right. And then three is I might not end up leaving my job now because my plan was to leave my job in June. But since all this is happening, it'd be better instead of pursuing like my next career path. Hey, let's take a step back. It'd be good to have a good paying job to get good financing, and then with all the cash and rent a place and live below my means, and then maybe double down over the next year, So just for the listeners, that's what I'm doing. That's what other people should do. I'm sure that's hopefully it works out. I could be dead wrong though, just like you said,
Yeah, no, I think that's very wise. Both of those moves are really mature, and setting yourself up to be in a position to where, when the new opportunity comes, when the people that are paying 500 for those fourplexes, and they're the ones that also bought the boat and have all the credit cards and stuff like that, and they're overextended and they're going to get shaken out. And it's not like the market may not drop, but there's going to be people like that need a fast sale. They've overextended, and you're in the right place at the right time, having done all the things to put in place. And that's where I was in the 97 upswing. Is I was in the trenches. I knew the market well. I'd seen it change. Our prices were unbelievably low, just fire sale from where they'd been in 1990, and it was like game on.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. The one last thing I would want to say about it is, so what people could think about too is, like, for example, Boise and these other markets that traditionally haven't been super hot markets. The reason why the prices went up because people that were maybe retiring from California or the coast were moving there. And what I kind of think is, like, if this takes such a huge hit on the stock market, which most people retiring plan their retirement based on 401ks and IRAs and that sort of thing. Well, if it all of a sudden goes down 50%, during this whole recessionary period, well, they're buying the boats, like you said, and they bought these properties for outrageous amounts of money. Well, all of a sudden now their 401k can't afford to pay them their, retirement expectations for the disbursements. Well, they're going to be, just like you said, maybe having to fire sale and get rid of some of this stuff because that old stock market just crushed them.
Right. What was unheard of before this is painfully acceptable
from
their standpoint, which brings opportunity to those that keep their powder dry and are patient and are keeping their expenses low. And another thing you can do during this is maybe find somebody. Maybe you're listening to this and you don't have any money. You're just barely getting by. Well, what if you're an amazing bird dog and you'll go out and find the properties and then find a partner that is three things. Number one, it's got the money. Number two, isn't a pain in the ass because you're getting into bed with them. And three, just somebody that you want to do business with. So something along those lines. Or if you're the one with the money and you find somebody that's hardworking and willing to do all the work, that's the way that I've seen things.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. Well, I do want to touch on kind of, if I'm sure everybody, like I said, knows who you are and all about you, but if they don't, let's give kind of a brief overview. We touched on it a bunch, but kind of where you came from and how you even got into real estate to begin with. And then kind of your story up into now where you founded such these great organizations and all this stuff to help so many people.
Okay. So I've come full circle. I live in a town called Portola, California. It's a very blue collar rural town up above Truckee Lake Tahoe. My parents, I was a straight A student. Parents split up when I was like 12 and things went awry. And mom moved down to Oakland. Dad lived here in Portola. It was the 70s.
What a change, huh?
Yeah. So I went back and forth and barely graduated high school, never went to college. And at 25, I found myself a part-time grocery clerk painting addresses on people's curbs to buy diapers for my two small kids.
Wow.
And then I found my niche selling real estate. And I first weekend held an open house, sold it. They need to list their house, took some buyers out, sold them a house. And it was like, it is on. And for the next 15 years, I cranked the song, Welcome to the Jungle, chain smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee, just 7 a.m. Just try to tell me no. Very, very caring about coming through for people, learning the ropes, doing everything I can do. So only listing and selling real estate, and then living way within my means with a very high risk tolerance towards buying a lot of real estate because it was dirt cheap, and something, and I love monopoly, and something told me that this was going to be a wise move. So I was just really aggressive, really early, made a lot of the right moves, did a lot of the things we teach in One Life Fully Lived. I talk about the financial ABCs: offense, earn more; B, defense, what's coming in, what's going out, huge piece; and C, what's left over to invest. So I learned all I could about investing. I barely graduated high school. I never went to college, but this stuff fascinated me. It was my game. I was a student of the game. I was a gym rat. I worked my ass off to sell
I lost you
as
there.
efficient as possible. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, you just cut out for a minute. You just
Isn't
real
it?
quick. But yeah, you said you're like a gym rat. You said you're all into it. It's just like as efficient as possible, living below your means, just buying the investment properties, right?
Right. So like 25 to 40. And is it okay? Is it okay if we don't have a screen, or is it?
Yeah. If you want to go from that'd be fine too.
It
We put it on
it
YouTube, but I can just put
let's,
audio on there.
if it does it again, we'll go to that. How's
It's
that
been
sound?
pretty good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah. So we really focused on the business of running your life, not just making money, but taking almost like the E-Myth for your life, and taking the excess money, putting it to work. And from 25 to 40, I just focused on that, and looked up at 40. I'm in Belize, scuba diving and fishing, and thinking, man, Tim, you're a millionaire. I never thought you'd get here. You grew up in this little town and stuff. What do you want to do? I never want to list another home. It was just like that clear. And I came back and I just transferred my whole team. Next incarnation from we want to list and sell your home and buying a few rentals and flipping a home or two to full on, I only buy property. And it took about a year or two to shut that business down and get this one. And I also made the shift at that time. I want to spend a lot more time getting the goods in the woods and just thinking and spending time enjoying life and not working so hard, and trusting my investing guy, So
That's yeah, no, that's awesome. So what year was that you kind of transitioned from the full-time real estate sales into just buying property?
Um, Probably around it. I started around 2000, and by 2002, I wasn't listing homes anymore at all. And
Okay.
and but from like 2000, from 1997 to 2006, I think we bought 50 flippers, and I went 48 and two. Those first 48, I averaged around 40 grand net to me, and the last two I made, like 8 grand on one and lost 4 grand on the other. And it
Wow.
was, like I said, I just got out and shut it down, and then moved to the mountains, and built our dream home up here in 2006. Took all the extra money, really bought our home for cash. It's a nice place.
Yeah. So did you end up buying? You still have rental property that kind of creates passive income for you, or how does that work in your retirement years?
So I can give you this document I created about the 5 levels of financial freedom.
Yeah.
And my friend Pat Hyben and I are at the 5th level. We don't work. We don't do, Go Bennetts is work and One Life is work, but whatever.
Passions.
You know what I mean? Yeah, they're just passions. I don't do anything with investing. Let's do that. I
Mhm.
only water ski in other people's wake. Like my friend Andrew Cushman, I'm part of a syndicate called DAP, David, Andrew, Pat, and Tim. And we've done like 12 apartment complexes, and Andrew's the horse. And so I invest in that. And my buddy Gary Jonas does, construction in Philly and his projects. And so that's like back in the day, I was at level 3 and 4. I'm still earning money. I'm still doing my own rentals with all that in the trenches. I do nothing. Well, I own a building lease to AutoZone and a building lease to Enterprise Rental. So those are, like 12 checks, we paid your taxes, we paid your insurance, and a 1099.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what you're saying is, you kind of at the level where we all aspire to be, not necessarily buying more units and trying to get like more uh, cash flow. You're kind of like, well, I've done so many of that, but now you're the guy that has the knowledge and the money, and then people come to you, and then like you said earlier, like find somebody that's out there kind of coming up, and then you can work together as being like more the investor part, hands off, passive investing type of thing.
Yeah, but honestly, at this point, with all the friends and stuff I have in GoBundance and being a wise investor, I really choose. I look at hundreds of packages a year, and it's really cool because I can help advise them and stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
but I'm very picky on what I do, on where I choose to invest.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, just a minute ago, you said some good points is like living below your means and then really being in there in the trenches and like grinding it out. And like, I think that's so important. So many people I feel like want to get to like do a little bit of work and then all of a sudden they're at like the level one of maybe financial freedom and then just say, oh, I'm just going to relax and live at this mediocre level. It's like, I don't want to do that. Like, I feel like there's a very important to get in there and grind it out for a certain amount of time, like you said, and just like get yourself to a big level that you can really accelerate the rest of your life. And that's kind of what you did in the whole 90s to early 2000s, right?
Yeah, and if I could, I'd like to pivot to One Life Fully Lived and what that's all about, and where that fits into all of this.
Mm-hmm.
The huge piece of this that all ties in, okay?
Yeah.
And it's the One Life Fulfillment Triangle, which is part of the One Life Roadmap teachings, which is on our website at onelifefullylived.org and also available on Amazon. But the fulfillment triangle, you don't mind, quote, grinding if you're doing something you love that you're good at, and the market is telling you, I like this, I'll pay you handsomely. It's not work, you know.
Yeah.
You're So that's the first thing of the fulfillment of the One Life, we call them the core four teachings, is the fulfillment triangle. Where will I fit in and thrive? Did that break up, Justin?
It did for just a second, but I heard everything you're talking about there. I mean, it's kind of like David Green talks about it a lot, is like, you're not necessarily going to work in something that you automatically, oh, this is my dream job. Like if you're growing up being like skiing or snowboarding all the time, oh, I just want to ski and snowboard for the rest of my life because it's my passion. Well, maybe you're able to do that, but go do something that you can become so good at. What's that book? It's called So Good They Can't Ignore You.
Oh, okay.
Get into something like that to where you're working and then you end up enjoying it, and then it becomes your passion because you're good at it, you're making more money, and then over time you can like expand that and then go do your snowboarding or skiing or whatever, hiking, all you want in the future because you made something your passion that you were good at.
Okay, so that's step one, is figuring out what that is. And by the way, that changes over time. I would love to list homes till I didn't. There's also a thing called the use by date, next incarnations and stuff. And this is, now when you're 60 and looking back, you realize you still get a lot of these. You're still climbing your mountain, bro.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, that's just a huge piece of this. So if the fulfillment triangle is that we're all shooting for, the how do you get there is vision plan. In 19 now, where all of a sudden your income's down here and your expenses are there and you're not getting anywhere. And I was so frustrated. And at that time, in that place, I wrote, what's my dream? What's my vision for the most amazing life? And I'd be living in the mountains, financially free, giving back to humanity in a huge way, and getting the goods in the woods and around my family, and just everything all solid. And that's what we've created. So number one is vision planning. What's your dream? Number two is finances. How will you fund it? Those ABCs. Number three is relationships with yourself, Who's your posse? Who's your mentors? And number 4 is wellness. How can I be healthy in my mind, body, and spirit to pull off this amazing life I was blessed to live? So that's what One Life Fully Lives is all about, is teaching people life's basics in a box, kind of like the inner coding to your best life.
That's awesome. No, I totally agree with all that, especially the health part. You know, a lot of the listeners know my wife and I also own a gym, and you know, we're all real into fitness. My wife's a nutrition coach and all that stuff, and you know, we love it. And especially now in this time, we're going through a pandemic of the coronavirus, which is hitting people that are, you know, obese, you know, high blood pressure, smokers, like all these things that typical Americans are these days. And how can you even like begin to function at your fullest if you guys are eating like crap and then not working out and coming home, like your mind's not there, you don't have motivation, you wake up tired, you don't want to go to work. It's just like a vicious cycle of never wanting to like get ahead because you eat like shit. You know what I mean? So
it's like fueling your body with 68 octane.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work.
It's not going to work.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's all good points. So, I want to touch next on, before we start to transition out of here, though, we touched on GoBundance and One Life Fully Lived. You guys wrote a new book called Tribe of Millionaires. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So it's a really cool book because it's different. It's a parable story about a guy named Ethan Martinez who happens upon our tribe and just goes down this rabbit hole. And it's done in a different way. If you enjoyed Paul Coelho's The Alchemist, you'll enjoy Tribe of Millionaires. And we've had people who have read it on a flight home, like from New York to San Francisco, put it in that Monday on their drive, you know, back and forth from San Francisco, and then applied to join our tribe after, because it just so resonated. And I talked about the magic of GoBundance before, is we're all amazing lone wolves and could very well do this ourselves, but isn't it better to be surrounded by, you know, fellow wolves, if you will, that want the best for you and are willing to stand for you, and not only be a good friend, but be a good mastermind buddy and call you on your shit when you need it. So
yeah, holding you accountable, huh? And like helping each other out.
Right.
I know you guys started something, the Emerge program, right? What is that?
So due to popular demand, first we started a women's division, which last year, and that's been really popular, and that was due to popular demand. And then we just started an Emerge program for people who can't qualify for regular GoBundance. So we're packaging all of our teachings, and that's going to come out just around the time of this podcast, or Zoom call. So please put it. So please go to GoBundance.com and check it out.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. And so how big can GoBundance get? Is it open to indefinite amount of people that want to join the tribe, or is it kind of like capped, or how does it work?
It kind of you know, it's working itself out. It has grown.
Mm-hmm.
But as we're growing, members are, you know, naturally dropping off, and we're fine with that. By the way, you talked about David Green; he's a good buddy of ours, and we got Front Row Dads and John Berghoff with Exchange, and we all kind of pass. You know, this is, hey, let's be in this for a while, and then this is best for me, and this. Some people stay a long time, some come and go, and we come from abundance over scarcity, and our thought process is, we're just going to create such an amazing tribe and care and be in the trenches. And when things come up like this virus, just pivot and go from doing a lot of events all over the country to doing something 7 days a week, you know, online for our members to get great value in our 6 pillars of GoBundance.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. That's awesome. So, well, what we ended up talking about on this show was like, we kind of covered what your thoughts were on the coronavirus and everything. And really the main points that I think you want people to take, and I would agree with them, is, you know, just be patient. pay attention to what's going on, do your research, like continue to, be aware of the market and what's going on, have cash reserves, put yourself in a good position. So if it does end up being, not a V and a deep, a trench that we're going into, maybe a deep recession, that you guys are going to be prepared, because this could be potentially one of the biggest wealth building times that our generation has seen. Oh wait, obviously I was too young, unfortunately. I'm not too young. I was like early 20s, but I just didn't have the money. I was trying to get into real estate. I bought a few things, 3 or 4 homes during, 2010 to 12, 13, that prime time.
Good
But
for you.
this could be another great time for all of us. It might not be, we don't know, but if it is, we need to be prepared. So that's kind of what we talked about on that. And then we talked about all your how you kind of got to where you are now, and your beliefs behind getting the goods in the woods, living a good life, helping other people, and all that sort of thing. So is there anything else that we didn't touch on that you would really like to mention before we transition out of here?
I would like to touch one more time on the gift of getting out of yourself and giving to others, and whether it's random acts of kindness or serving, like what we do through One Life Fully Lived, where we help people just starting out learn those core 4 teachings and find their fulfillment triangle. So if this sings to you, please do buy our One Life Roadmap journal. We have it for students now. We're making an edition for adults as we speak. And learn our core 4 teachings. They'll serve you well. They'll serve your kids well, your nephews, those you care about. Master our teachings, and then help us throw the rope down and help change humanity. And that's the beauty of GoBundance, is we're all working on our game, growing our wealth, being physically fit, developing deep relationships, and throwing the rope down to lift others. And that's what the world needs more of.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do find more, the more stuff that I can buy on my own for myself, I kind of don't like doing it anymore. It's like, doesn't bring me that same joy when I was 21 and I was buying a new truck or motorcycle, whatever. Now it's like, but it's fun to help other people and teach them and bring them up. Or, you kind of find as you get older and get more financially successful that maybe that's really where we should all been doing a lot, the whole time. And it is fulfilling, to watch other people grow also. So that's definitely.
And I would like to say one other thing to the young people listening to this, and one is along those lines. You don't have to give a lot of money. Give a little bit of your time. It's just really good to get out of yourself and serve. It feels really good. It's going to make you feel better about yourself and help you do what you do better. Number one. And number two, to you young people, you heard Justin say, I didn't really do much between 2008 and 2010. Don't have to be first to the party. Study others, watch what they're doing, see how they're successful, and ride their wave.
Right
Let
on.
them make the mistakes. Let them think that this is it, and then it goes down even further. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So stick your toe in the water. Don't go all in, and learn the ropes. And then, like he said, I think he said 2010 to 2014, he bought 2 or 3 properties. So that would be a really good goal for you young people.
Yeah, for sure. And not feeling so, it's okay to be patient, definitely. All right. Well, this is awesome, Tim. Again, just say where they can find out more about you, more about GoBundance, One Life Fully Lived, all that stuff.
Sure. Please join the One Life community on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. It's the number One Life community. Our website is onelifefullylived.org. GoBundance.com. Check out the Emerge program that's just coming in May. And if you want to email me direct, it's tim@timrhode.com, and Rhode is spelled RHODE. And Justin, this has been a pleasure, man. It's really you, young people like you. Let me know that as the Who said back in my day, the kids are all right.
Well, perfect. Thanks, Tim. I really appreciate it. This is awesome. Thanks for being here. Everybody, all the show notes will be, available shortly, or as soon as the show comes out. Reach out to Tim and definitely look into One Life Fully Lived and GoBundance and all the stuff they got going on. So again, Tim, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And go get the goods in the woods, man.
Thanks, Justin. All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thanks.